What is happening? Good morning and welcome back for Tuesday training, man. Today is a fantastic day. I hope you're doing well. I guarantee you I am. And we've got a jam-packed, hard-hitting episode for you guys today. You saw the title. The title's You've Been Lied To. And the truth is that today, in today's crazy world of information and disinformation, there is no shortage of fraudsters and charlatans coming after you. They want your personal information. They want your money. They want your time. They want your energy. They want your blood, your sweat, and your tears. And we've definitely got that coming today. We have a jam-packed episode. Got an awesome guest who's going to come at you with some hard-hitting stuff. He's going to come at you with some truths that maybe you don't like to hear, but maybe you need to hear them. But before we get in that, let's jump right in, man. I've got some amazing stuff that I've found on the web today that comes right with what we're talking about. You know, you guys have probably heard about this, right? There are robocallers preying on the elderly with fake Medicare calls. This headline right here from Insider says, hey, it's a no-brainer to stop it, but nobody's doing it. Well, if you come through this thing and you figure out what's going on, basically there are scammers out there that are spoofing the Center for Medicare Medicaid Services toll-free hotline number 1-800-Medicare to make it look like that phone call is coming from Medicare. Moving on down, they even give you a sample in this recording here. I can't play it over the phone here or over the line, but you can actually go on to SoundCloud and you can find recordings of spoofed fake Medicare calls, right? They're asking for your Medicare information. Like, hey, do you have Medicare health insurance card? What's your card number? And it says that, look, neither of these calls actually came from Medicare. In fact, they likely originated from scammers operating overseas. In January alone, an estimated more than 36 million Medicare robocalls were sent to U.S. phone lines. The influx of these calls may seem relatively benign, but they're part of a larger scam to defraud taxpayers and the federal government. Moving on, it says here that Aaron Foss, the CEO and founder of Nomorobo, pretty good little phrase there, but it's a premium service that screens user calls to prevent them from ever making contact with the phone scammer. In addition to screening others' calls, the company has amassed an arsenal of 350,000 honeypot or decoy phone lines that are built with the express purpose of sitting and waiting to receive spam calls. Moving on a little further, what you find out is that every day the honeypot numbers get inundated with calls from scammers purporting to be from Medicare. Many of these calls spoof the service's 1-800-Medicare hotline in the phone's caller ID. Call spoofing is a serious problem as it pertains to phone scam, and scammers are very easily able to change their apparent origin of the calls to add credibility to their grift. Now, as you mentioned, or as I said earlier in the headline, it says, hey, it's a no-brainer to stop it, but nobody's doing it. What are they talking about there? Well, if you move on down further in this article, stopping the spoofing, it says that when caller ID was implemented, AT&T was the only phone company around, and as such, it implemented a system where a customer could put anything they wanted as their caller ID so that they able to verify who was who. But the government broke up AT&T, deregulated the telecom industry, and ultimately crippled the effectiveness of caller ID by allowing scammers to easily game the system. Moving on a little further, it talks about the DNO registry. The Federal Communications Commission requires gateway providers to reference a reasonable do not originate list, a registry of phone numbers that are never used for outbound calls, only inbound, like 911 or the IRS hotline. The providers, knowing these numbers are for inbound calls only, will then drop any call that has a caller ID of one of the numbers on the DNO registry. Well, that would be the easiest way to kneecap Medicare fraudsters, would be simply to add the 800 Medicare line to the DNO registry. But nobody's doing it. And that seems to be a bit of an issue. Now, someone later in the article says that, hey, there are some outbound phone calls that get made from Medicare, and that's why it can't be added to the DNO registry. But the truth is, there are millions of calls that are happening on a daily basis coming after your Medicare customers, trying to defraud them of their information. Not so much just flip them on a Medicare plan, that's happening too, but ultimately they're trying to get their information. Now, moving right along with this, I want you to check another article out. This is from the Tampa Bay News. Same thing or similar thing going on. Misleading website now is impersonating Florida's Citizens Property Insurance. Basically, what has happened here is that, pardon me, but a gentleman's agency Daniel Block, his agency is called Insurance King, has now had his entire website spoofed. As a matter of fact, I pulled him up here. Let me show him to you real quick. This is his actual website for Citizens Property Insurance Corp. Pretty similar. And then somebody out there has decided to create this one for Citizens Property Insurance. Logo's kind of similar, few things out there. Now, the reason this came up and how he figured it out was that someone, going back to the article, says that, hey, it's got my real name, my real address, a lot of my real information on there, but I don't sell in Florida, number one, and number two, I don't even sell auto insurance. But somewhere along the line, he got a review, I think a Google review posted, hey, we really appreciate you helping us with the Florida auto insurance. He's like, wait a second, I don't sell in Florida and I don't sell auto insurance. So after looking through it some more, he came upon this fact that someone's now spoofed his information, his website, and they even went as far down here towards the bottom to include the BBB. The BBB logos on their site. They're pretending they're a member of the BBB and everything. And now there's this lengthy investigation, and you can read about it in this article. But the fact is, there are people coming after you in all kinds of ways. They're coming after your customers. They're coming after your money. They're coming after your attention, and they want it all. So beware. I'm not sure of how we fix it. Maybe maybe it's through organizations like NAHU or now NABIP or NAFA or some of these other organizations out there where we can band together. But this is a little bit about what we've been talking about today. And I've got a great guest on today that's going to come talk about some similar things about you've been lied to. So let's bring him on here. This dude is a massive insurance producer in the life space, writes big cases, very well known and very well accomplished. Mr. Mason Vanmeter, what is going on, dude?
Not much. How are you?
I am doing fantastic, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. Looking at Joshua Young's comment, good luck getting my clients.
Absolutely, man. The Medicare machine out there, you're not getting his at all. But the truth is, yeah, there are a lot of people that are coming out there with misinformation, disinformation, trying to trick you, whether it be just to get your attention, get your personal information, your money, your efforts, right? Which is a big part of it that we see in the insurance space. But before we dive right into that, I just want to kind of take a moment, let everybody know who you are. Just if you'll take a moment, just kind of introduce yourself, let them know who Mason Vanmeter is, and maybe just a little taste of what Running Buddies Academy is.
So I'm from Henderson, Kentucky, straight out of high school as a machinist and an electrician for 5 years, worked on AC/DC motors. No, not the band, but these huge electric motors. Got to work for NASA, the Air Force Base, moved to Australia, California, worked on a lot of stuff with my hands, got tired of that shit, found a pipe dream sold to me on ZipRecruiter. Upline said, well, I do this much a month. And I came in there and did way more than he did. And we ended up building a good relationship. But everyone is recruited into this industry. And I was sold a pipe dream just like 99.82% of other insurance agents. And I noticed my second year after I wrote a lot of volume, I did things that I don't recommend doing, but I got tired of giving away overrides to upline. So I took matters into my own hands and wrote a lot of business with other places, made a lot of money for myself. The next year, I really coached a lot of agents for free. When I noticed they were making a lot of money, I was like, I should start charging for this. And it was around the same time I found Alex Hormozy. So started structuring my offer, all of that stuff, and now built Running Buddies Academy. It's like 9 months. I started that last June or July. And so I've just been helping people get rid of bigger issues. Yeah, you'll make money if you're working with me 100%. But my main thing is getting rid of people's like suicidality, depression, limiting beliefs, that sort of stuff, because I know that makes a lot bigger difference. I don't really care who you are as an insurance producer. I care about who you are when you go home to your family, your kids, your wife, whatever. That's what gets me good word of mouth, is actually fixing real problems.
Love it. I can relate with a lot of that. I mean, when I was recruited, because you said it perfectly, right? We're pretty much all recruited into insurance, right? There's only a handful of people that I've ever met that said, man, I woke up one day and was like, you know what? I think I want to become an insurance agent. Most of us kind of find our way into insurance through a job ad, a ZipRecruiter ad, Craigslist, a friend, a warm market introduction, whatever it is. I had read the stat somewhere in a journal, and I wanted to say it was somewhere around 89%. Maybe it was more. They were like, hey, you're recruited into insurance, right? You're not, this isn't your your goal to become an insurance agent. But a lot of times once we get into this business, we find out how great it can be, so we stick around. But when I came in, I wasn't promised a pot of gold, but I wasn't provided true direction, true mentorship, and true leadership to help me succeed. Right? I got recruited. They helped me get signed up. They handed me their presentation book. They said, "Here, learn this." They sent me to a 2.5-day crash course to learn the presentation book, and they said, "Now go knock on doors and make money."
Just
that was
do
it.
The deal.
Just do the deal. Some of y'all probably heard the story. So I'm really familiar with what that is like. And thankfully, about 14 months after my introduction to that, I'd met a gentleman who truly did mentor me in the business and actually opened it up, kind of pulled the veil behind, or open, so to speak, right? It really taught me the business, explained how contracting works, the nature of hierarchies, et cetera, et cetera. And certainly I've worked with that gentleman in some capacity for the last 17 years of my career. So I'm really looking forward to hearing what you have to say. I know you have some great messages. Some things that you say are hard hitting. There are things that we don't always like to hear, but I'm looking forward to it. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and say this, guys. Tune in, get your questions ready, because I'm dropping the floor to Mason, and he's about to come at you with some good stuff.
Before you just drop the floor to me, I think most people would probably appreciate like an interview type of style. You can ask questions and got it, rather than just hearing some dude rant, because I'll go off on, I'll digress a lot and I'll piss a lot of people off, telling them things they know are true, but I'll say it in a way that they want to disagree with it.
Okay. So give me one example of, let's say, what would you say is the hottest mistruth that you'd like to hit
more
on?
leads, do more activity. Stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life.
Okay. Expand on that.
There are way better approaches to this business, especially for someone new who is not getting the proper training, than just dumping $500 a week, $5,000 a month into buying leads that you're not told are being shared and resold to other people. Beautiful from a marketing standpoint. Let me generate this lead for $5, sell it for $50. When they don't sell it, I'll sell it again for $40. When they don't sell it, I'll sell it again for $25. Now imagine doing that with thousands of agents, but they're exclusive. What's exclusive about it?
Exclusive to the vendor that's selling it. They can exclusively sell it to anybody they want, over and over and over.
It's disgusting. It's so disingenuous. And I promise, bad karma, bad word of mouth, that compounds so quick. And you'll see these people doing this stuff start picking up weight issues, depression, heart attacks, whatever, from all the stress and bad shit coming into their life.
So right out of the gate, we got a question here for you. Are you generating your own leads?
100%.
All right.
So now that I'm only selling insurance to very higher net worth people, because I would rather chase one deal a year that's going to pay me $1 million than chase 1,000 deals that would do the same thing. I can put all my effort, energy, and focus into one thing, and I'll do that via the coaching community. All these coaching programs that I paid to play in and bought relationships, people like Tanner Chittister, Nico Moreno, whoever, I'm known as the insurance guy. So when these people doing $50, $100 million a year in revenue have insurance questions, who do they come to? I can sell one policy and make more than people will do in a year or 10 years for most insurance agents. But it's like, even when I was selling smaller policies, just final expense, mortgage protection, whatever, I used organic marketing. I found my target audience. I would go in Facebook groups, answer people's questions. I would be seen as the expert. Like I saw Joe Frazier Campert post something about using a McChicken thing for quotes. It's brilliant. There's truly a Facebook group for everything. But I also got in with bankers, construction companies. Like, who do my target audience go to? Divorce attorneys, funeral directors, whatever. So I just made relationships with people who already had my existing audience. Like, if I really wanted to just tackle a ton of insurance agents, I would try to partner up with Cody Askins or someone huge in the insurance space, because he has all of my existing audience.
Makes sense.
So it's just going where you know people are going to be. It's getting in the way of the money.
Makes sense completely. And I can also relate and attest to that. As a matter of fact, just recently, I had purchased some leads. I was testing out a platform. It was given some free money from one of my carriers, United Healthcare. It's like, hey, we got some free marketing money for you. We want to help you this AEP, right? So we're going to help you stuff it into this platform that we partner with. We believe they're going to do a great job. And they said, hey, we're going to give you real-time exclusive data leads in Spanish, because that's the market that I go after, right? And I was like, all right, the price was good. It's free money from UHC. I'll take it. Like, let me test it out. And they said they were going to be real-time exclusive leads to me. Well, I asked those, like, let me start with 5 a day and let's see what they look like. Well, every day, apparently, at 8 a.m., there were 5 people in my target audience that all at the exact same time requested information. I thought it was really bizarre that at the same time, every day, 8:01 a.m., 5 people in my target audience all came in with an exclusive lead. So, and obviously they all turned out to be garbage, which I was really upset about, because they're, ultimately that lead company is defrauding United Healthcare out of their funds, and then they're wasting my time, right? So I love what you're saying, to learn, for an agent to learn how to generate their own leads. I generally generate my own leads at this point through Facebook, through seminars, networking, trade events, et cetera, and then also through direct mail. What are some, you talked about networking. What are some other things, or maybe more importantly, what do you think prevents an agent from generating their own leads, from getting out there and having that ability, or what are the tools that they need to get out there and really learn
A
to
lot
be
of it
a
is,
true
are you
marketer?
asking why they don't do that?
Yeah.
A lot of it is because loyalty is skewed in this industry. They come in, they get sold on a pipe dream, and they buy into the culture, the system. Well, what works for me isn't going to work for Tony. The same divorce attorney that I go to is not going to be the same person Tony goes to for leads. But it's programming. 90% of our thinking comes from other people. I'm a practical, like, neuroscientist. As far as I'm concerned, I'm the only one in this industry who is involved with hypnosis, psychology, cognitive behavioral therapy, patterns. Like, I love this stuff because I love knowing how humans operate. But they come in here, they trust the person above them, even though they're taking out loans for their leads because they're $20,000 in credit card debt, or they were told to recruit day one. If you don't even know how to sell, why the hell are you recruiting? Because here's the thing about that. The people you bring on, their families depend on you as the upline to create the environment for them to be successful in. And when you don't give them that, it is your fault 100% of the time. And people don't realize that you're always running 2 businesses, like Tony Robbins says, the one you're in and the one you're becoming. People get so nailed down to the mundane day-to-day task, or they get stuck out like a visionary. It's values levels of thinking. You have these huge ideas. Hey, I've got an idea. Hey, I've got an idea. Execute on it. If I come back to you and talk to you a week later, well, where's your new business? What do you mean? Well, what happened to that idea you had a week ago? Then you have those people so stuck in the day-to-day bullshit that they never plan ahead. Like mortgage brokers, real estate agents, all the people who can't cut it in those industries are now flocking to the insurance industry because these dumbass TikTok agents saying you can get 50% on an IUL compounding year over year. It's a bunch of lies. And they just get stuck in this indoctrination. They get stuck in this indoctrination, kind of like the school system that primes you to be a factory worker. They teach you what to think, not how to think. It's disgusting.
It is disgusting.
Society is
I
crumbling
tend to
real
agree
time.
with you there.
Society's crumbling real time. We're teaching men that it's okay to cry, be emotional, take days off. If you're married, if you got kids, know the hell it's not okay. As a young man, fuck your feelings. You have responsibilities and duties. You brought that kid into the world, you better be a father. We live in a fatherless generation. 13 million single parent households in America, 80% are ran by single mothers. 80% of prison inmates were in single mother households. Most men that are suicidal, single mother households. It's like no one wants to talk about real issues. It's, well, which lead company is the best? Which Facebook ads course should I buy? Why do you want to go spend money on a new business? Go learn to do it for free. Go get your feet out there and talk to some people. You'll get rid of most of your limiting beliefs, made up depression, whatever, by going out there and getting a lot of activity. I have never had the belief in myself before I did something. It has always came after. And that's because I built up a stack of proof that I am who I say I am. I can always fall back on that. But it's like no one wants to address real shit these days. Why aren't you selling? You need to buy more leads. That's why. No, maybe they're suicidal. Maybe their wife is sleeping with somebody else and they feel disrespected. They go home to a household where kids don't listen to them and they're glued to television screens watching YouTube videos of other kids playing with toys that you bought for them. If my life was that bad, I'd probably be depressed too.
Now, twice I've seen you use quotation marks with the word depression.
Because it's not real to me. You cannot convince me that I can become depressed.
Why is that?
Because I don't believe it exists. I
So
do
why-
not believe it exists. I cannot become depressed. And here's the thing that people, I think it's so funny that when people argue with the videos and the posts that I made, I had a YouTube short get a shit ton of views. I had a TikTok get a couple 100,000 views. And people are on here telling me to kill myself. People are sending me messages, whatever. Some people loved it. If you get bothered by the hate or the love, that's a problem for you. But you're not, they don't realize that I don't even care if I'm wrong. I would rather be wrong and have the mentality that I do and the lifestyle that I do than listen to someone and be right with a sad mentality. I would rather be wrong
and
than
feel
be right.
great.
People don't even realize that. Why would I want to believe in something that takes power away from me? When people argue with the things that are taking power and ruining their lives, why the fuck are you defending it? Are you the PR team for depression? And people say, well, it's a chemical imbalance. That has actually been disproven. Chemical imbalance has never been a proven cause of depression. Go look at all the Harvard studies. It was a big pharma scam to sell pills. Let's take a pill that changes your neurochemistry, your neurobiology, and completely screws you up. Let's take your messed up serotonin levels and throw them all over the place even more. They were at 20%. Now they're at like 2. Let's mess our brain up even more. And it's like people never want to go after the things that are really causing them to feel that way. Does feeling depressed exist? 100%. Does certain mental conditions exist? 100%. I've been in street fights in the past. I've been shot at, whatever. There's been days where I woke up where I genuinely did not care if I lived or died. But regardless of how I felt, I did what needed to be done. I did what needed to be done regardless of how I felt. That is the problem with most men today. Their testosterone levels are so jacked up. Go look at the studies. Between that and cancer rates have went up 1% a year on average for the last like 50 years. Testosterone has decreased 1% on average in men for the last 50 years. We have 50% less testosterone than men 50 years ago that actually built this country. No wonder people are going around identifying as unicorns and saying, my feelings, my feelings, my feelings. I'm going to take a day off. We live in a jacked up society. People's hormone imbalance is so out of the roof, and it makes you do some crazy shit. Girl breaks up with you, you send her 500 text messages. Do you know how much business you could do if you wrote 500 text messages to your clients? Why are you trying to come in my comments convincing me that your depression is real? You're overweight. You're eating like shit. You're eating processed foods every day. Don't come at me. I'm not going to take on the mentality or mindset of a sad person. It's disgusting. Men are not men anymore these days. I've never asked a woman to split the bills. What the hell is that?
It's funny that you say that, not the split the bill thing, but the men are not men. And I shouldn't say funny because it's not a funny subject.
It's sad.
Dave Williams and I were having a chat. I don't know if you know Dave Williams. He's big time in the PNC space, but him and I were having a chat and we were talking about that anecdote of what is it? So if I can say it correctly, because I'm going off of memory right now, but it's hard times, or no, easy times create soft men, right? Soft men create hard times. And that's that space that a lot of people believe we're in.
We're
I
in it
assume
right
you would
now.
obviously,
And here's the thing. All these people claiming my feelings, my feelings, my feelings. You're going to make it 10 times easier for me to make more sales and get whatever I want out of life. We're in direct competition with everybody in this industry. You're in this. I want the same dollar that Tony wants. Joe wants the same dollar that I want. We all want the same clients. We all want the same car, the same house. We're in direct competition with one another. It's a very hyper competitive world.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're just screaming my feelings every day, you're not going to the gym, you're not eating right, you're not operating out of a place of abundance, but saying, you know what, I'm sad, so that means I'm not good enough to pick up the phone and dial. I'm not good enough to go to this networking event because I'm overweight. I'm afraid of how people will look. You're going to make my life 10 times easier.
What do you think is the number one thought in their brain that perpetuates that
They're
reality for
emotionally
them?
unintelligent. They try to stay comfortable. You must go through hard things. You must stress yourself out. You must go through trauma. I have been in hundreds of relationships. I've had my heart broken hundreds of times, but did I just sit around and cry? I went to the gym. I got in fantastic shape. I would stay up till 4 a.m. designing a new landing page to get new customers. I didn't stay up till 2 a.m. trying to call from a private or a block number like all these spoof people are in the Medicare. That's one thing that pisses me off with the ACA. These agents calling to do a agent change.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what a fucking scumbag.
It's the wild, wild west in the ACA space, and certainly there's plenty of it moving over in the Medicare side as
Well, and
well.
these are the
I
same
talked
people
about
that
it
get
some.
pissed off at me. What do you know? You're 25. I've been through more life experience than most people alive today. I've lived more life. I've been in more relationships. I've gone through more stress and trauma than 99% of the population today. It all comes down to emotional intelligence. I was raised by my mother. Mothers do not know how to raise boys to be men. So I was under the impression that I had to be emotional and tell girls how beautiful they were. And it's okay to take days off when you're sad or go take a nap. Like, no, the fuck it's not. You must do what is required regardless of how you feel. I do not place substance or bearing on my emotions. Do I feel them? 100%. They're a natural human function. But do I give them any substance or weight? No. Regardless if I wake up happy or sad, I just go about my day. Awesome, feel sad, time to get to work. Awesome, feel happy, time to get to work. People say they're sad. Go take an ice bath. Let's see how long you think about feelings. It's something as simple as that. I'm serious. You cannot focus on how sad you are when you're trying to do everything to get warm.
Right.
You think emotions are bad, go sit in ice cold water. You'll hate it. You'll hate it. But what I would hate more is being overweight, talking shit about other people. I see so many people bashing coaches, bashing me. What do you know about selling insurance? You only did it for 2 years. Why? Like, one product, one channel, one avatar, as Alex Hormozy says. Why would I try to run 2 businesses?
Explain that a little more. 2 businesses.
Here's the thing. Is the CEO of Coca-Cola the CEO of Pampers Diapers? No. You have to put all of your focus into one thing. Why are you talking shit about me because I don't want to go sell 1,000 policies every year now, rather than selling 60 people and making $1 million? Which one is a higher leverage opportunity? You're 50 years old and you're talking shit to a 25-year-old that now makes more money than you. How funny is that?
Dive a little harder into that 2 businesses thing. I mean, you gave the great analogy between Coca-Cola and Pepsi, but relate it more to insurance agent, right?
It's
One
like the
product,
people
one
that say,
avatar,
well,
one space. Like, just run on that a little bit
I
for
want to
me.
do final expense sales. I just spent 20 grand in the last year. I bought 3,000 leads all for final expense. You know what? I think I'm going to go over to advanced markets. And I really like what Joshua Youngs is doing. I'm going to get into Medicare, and then I'm going to get into the health markets. Then I'm going to get into property, and I'm going to do it all. I'm going to do it all. Your attention gets spread so thin because you're trying to tackle 900 projects. Why don't you just pick the one that you're best at or you think has the highest leverage, highest opportunity size, and attack that? Because if you keep putting 0.5% of your attention into 1,000 projects, none of them will ever get done. You'll have half-built bridges everywhere. It's stupid. But that's the thing about entrepreneurship that gets people into this industry. Have you seen the movie The Matrix?
Yes.
It's like the girl in the shiny red dress. It's a distraction. That's the comparison I make to this industry and entrepreneurship. Because the shiny girl in the red dress is entrepreneurship. And what gets us into this industry is, coincidentally, funnily enough, the same thing that almost gets us out of here. Because you're always looking for the shiny new object. You're always looking for the new 90-day project, the new 75 hard. I do the same boring thing every freaking day. I do what's called a life hard. Because if it's not worth doing for the rest of my life, it's not even worth doing at all. 75 days? That's weak. Loser. I want to do a 365 hard every day for the rest of my life. I eat the same thing. I do the same total body workout. I do the same routine every day. I focus on one thing. It comes down to discipline, emotional intelligence. Most people don't even realize they're 6 inches away from gold, but they keep changing it up.
Well said. I was thinking about kind of what you just said, life hard, right? I do a life hard, not just 75 days hard. And it made me remember I'm a big Bruce Lee fan, right? A lot of people don't know that Bruce Lee wasn't just a martial artist. He was a philosopher, very great thinker. And one of his expressive thoughts that he always tried to put out there was like, don't pray for an easy life, pray for the strength to endure a hard life, right? And that again goes back to the times that we're in. We're in this space where we've had easy times and now we're creating easy men, and they're continuing to pray for an easy life again. How do we get out of that cycle?
It's mentality. It's ditching all the TVs, Xbox. When I see people talking about Call of Duty lobbies, why the fuck are you bragging about a video game? You're already in a video game. You have every opportunity to upgrade your character in real life. I respect exactly. I was just about to say that, Brian. I respect anybody who can look at something and learn lessons the easy way. That is now where I'm at, only because of pattern recognition, experience. That's all experience is pattern recognition. Seeing the invisible before it becomes visible, before it manifests or represents itself.
Give us an example of pattern recognition.
In terms of what?
Well, in terms of maybe something you've learned, like a pattern you saw, you're like, oh, wait a second, I have to stop this pattern.
Learning things the hard way. I have learned to just throw myself in the fire. I understand that most people can't do that, and it's okay if you stair-step yourself into stress. Like, your level of stress tolerance will directly reflect your income. If you can put up with a 10 out of 10 on the stress tolerance, you'll have a very nice financial well-being. Because you can tolerate anything. But like a pattern, it's like every time someone tells you no, the pattern that runs through most agents' head is, I don't want to deal with rejection. I'd rather get I need to think about it, because if I don't address the I need to think about it, that means I don't have to get told no, and I can still feel like I did my job and feel good about myself.
I think this
That's a pattern that most people run through their head.
Experience is pattern recognition. I would assume that's correct if you're paying attention.
Correct. And most people don't, because they just, like I said, 90% of our thinking comes from other people. It's easier to be led than lead yourself. Most people would rather be told what to do in today's day and age in TikTok attention span society. We'd rather listen to our upline about buy more leads and do more activity. But when you look at their life, would you trade places with them? There's not a person alive that I would trade places with in today's society. I do not want to adopt their way of thinking. I do not want to adopt their body physique. I do not want to adopt their family with kids that don't listen to them and a wife that doesn't respect them, a husband that does not provide for them. I would not trade places with any of these people.
So if it's easier to be led than to lead yourself, what are some things, maybe 2 or 3 action items, for example, that someone could do to learn to break that, to learn to be, hey, how do I become a better leader of myself? Like what is the one thing they have to change?
For one, environment. You're always a product of your environment. If you surround yourself with 4 alcoholics, guess what? You're number 5. If you surround yourself with 4 fat people, guess what? You're fatty number 5. One easy change is the environment. Like I'm moving to Texas here in August simply because there's so many more entrepreneurs and people that I know that I can get myself around with. That's one easy way. The next is to stop asking other people because you have all the resources you need to be successful. Ask yourself questions. Trust your instinct. Most of the time when you ask for advice, it's really just them telling you what they would tell themselves. And if I wouldn't trade places with them, why would I take their advice? It all comes down to beliefs. Beliefs shape your world. It shapes the lens or perspective that you look through the world at. This is why you can have an alcoholic and he has 2 sons. And based on how they grew up, one son can say, you know what? Because my father was an alcoholic, I'm going to end up just like him. And he does. And then you have one son that says, you know what? My dad taught me everything not to do. He played the role that he was meant to play. I'm not going to be an alcoholic because I see what it did to his life. Same family, 2 different outlooks, 2 different perspectives from 2 different people, but same scenario.
Well said.
Just get good at asking yourself different questions. Most people ask questions in a complete reverse order. They don't try to deduce the best possible answer. And like marriage, for example, I love Alex Hormozi's example of this. How would I make my marriage better? Terrible question. How would I destroy my marriage? Way better question. Well, I would cheat on her. I would call her fat. I wouldn't spend a lot of quality time with her. Now you have everything you need to fix or not do. It's a different way of thinking.
Okay, so flip that for an insurance agent.
What are the most successful insurance agents not doing that I am? Oh, they're not scrolling around on Facebook constantly watching stupid videos. They're not playing Call of Duty. They're not spending time on social media. They're not going out to bars on the weekend. There's so many things. It's like, what is Tony not doing that I am? The answer is not usually to add on more. It's what do I need to take out or eliminate? Why? Focus. It's 900 projects. It's how we think. Your brain operates in chunks. There's no such thing as multitasking. If I was to start watching a video and I'm over here typing on Facebook a post, I get so ingrained in what I'm focusing on. I would rather focus on one thing.
True. I've said that many times, and I picked up the expression. I want to say I picked it up from Landon McCarter, and I don't know if it's necessarily that he coined it or got some, but I believe in it too. And that's long obedience in one direction, right? I'm going to pick one product, just like you said, and I'm going to run it, or one product line, right?
Yep,
one
one
line
product,
of business.
one channel, one avatar. You become the expert of that. And if everyone is a 90 out of 100, all it takes to win is to you be rated or ranked a 91. You just have to be 1% better than everyone else, and you will get all the business. You will get all the referrals. You will get all the attention.
So how do you decide if you're an agent? You're like, okay, I get it. I like it. One avatar, one lane, one product. How do I decide what my ones are for me?
I would ask yourself, what do I understand the most of? What has the biggest opportunity size? What's the economy going to be like 3 years down the road? Like, here's the thing about final expense. You know they're going to die. Mortgage protection, Who needs a policy more? A mortgage protection client who just bought a house, they're 30, they think they're invincible, or an 84-year-old who just got diagnosed with terminal cancer who submitted a final expense policy? Who needs it more?
It's a matter of perspective, I would think, but I see where you're going with it.
Correct. And it is a matter of perspective. People say December is the best or worst month for insurance. They're home with their families. It's the holidays. They don't want to be bothered. They're home with their families. Perfect opportunity to bother them. It all comes down to perspective. That's the beautiful thing about free will and free choice. But if you just make a decision and stick with it for a long enough time horizon, you will eventually run out of the wrong things to do, even if you're the worst insurance agent. Because why would you expect to be good at something you have not done a lot of? Mason, it's my first sale. I got it. I need to think about it. What do I do? Go run 50 more sales appointments. You haven't even had enough exposure. You will learn the right things to do.
Through repetition.
Yes. Most people just wait so many years to even get the first hour started of a new skill. Well, I want to play piano. I want to learn to sell. I'll start that next year. We live in a very lazy society. People don't mean what they say. People don't say what they mean. People don't make a decision and stick with it. When I hear men apologize, people will walk into me in the gym and go, "Oops, I'm sorry." Terrible mentality. I don't apologize for anything. I said what I meant at that time because I felt a certain way, or it was the most logical explanation for my perspective at the time, and perspectives can shift. But I'm not going to apologize unless I genuinely mean it. But you don't hear me just walking through life, "Oops, I'm sorry." I'm not going to apologize for shit. I said what I mean. I meant what I said. And emotions have no control over me.
Well, isn't there something to say about your example, right? You're at the gym working out, somebody bumps into you accidentally and they say, "Oops, I'm sorry." Like, isn't there something about that just being a good courtesy? Like, hey, they didn't mean to hit you.
Exactly. So why apologize? It was an accident.
So just say oops.
Oops. Go on. We're men. We're not emotional. Well, I would argue actually against that statement. 99% of men are emotional, but I like to live in my own world where I think men are strong. They lead their households. They don't have to ask their wife permission to go out to a basketball game, or, "Hey, I'm going to eat with so-and-so." "No, you're not. Dishes aren't done." You got me messed up, sweetheart. I pay the bills. You don't wear the pants here. I keep you safe. If someone breaks in the house at night, it's my job to go fight the robber off. If I want to go out to eat, I'm going to go out to eat. But it's like most men just show no self-respect, no self-love for themselves. They don't take control of things. No woman wants to be put in a leadership position. No woman respects a man who makes them think about stress and go through trauma and can't solve their problems. They don't want to think. They're emotional creatures. They shouldn't have to think. They should be protected from stress and trauma. This is what I see with female entrepreneurs, is they have to pick up very masculine traits. And it's very unattractive to men. I've never been attracted to a female's income. That's why I do not believe there are gold diggers. I believe there are only men stupid enough to let a woman gold dig them. "Hey, I want you to buy me this purse." "Okay." But it all comes down to knowing yourself to lead yourself. These are the biggest problems. You're simping for internet girls posting half-naked pictures on OnlyFans. That's probably your biggest problem in your life. 60% of the people who come through my coaching program that are men have pornography addictions that I have to get rid of. It's disgusting. 40% of them have been suicidal. If I had their life, I'd probably be suicidal too. But it's like no one wants to address real issues. It's buy more leads, do more activity. Show up to this call where we talk about product knowledge. Fuck your product knowledge. It matters far more who you're selling to than what you're selling. Prospect is always the most important part of a sale, never the product.
I would definitely agree with that. So when you're coaching program with running buddies, it sounds to me like you're not. It sounds to me like you're talking more about these issues versus just like how to be, how to run leads better or how to do this or that better. But it's how
My
more
course,
to
the Sahara
change
method,
your thinking.
is A to Z insurance. It will teach you everything you need to know about running paid ads. I try to steer people away from that because if you have to pay $0 to acquire a customer, your LTV goes up, your churn goes down, you're stickier, you get better word of mouth. That's one of the biggest problems that I fucking hate in this industry. No one talks about business metrics. They tell you you're a business owner, but you don't even know what churn is. You don't know what lifetime value is. You don't know what net gross profit is. Your upline's a dumbass. I'm just being honest because they don't even know the equations to a calc. Like, what's LTV? Huh? Is that a car? But no, my course walks them through everything they need A to Z insurance. I use hypnosis and timeline therapy. I can get rid of any negative emotion in 15 minutes. Just to bring therapy into this, on average, it takes people 300 hours of traditional therapy, which if you do the cost, that's roughly $50,000 to $60,000 on average that goes to a therapist. How long would it take you doing bi-weekly meetings of sitting with a therapist to get rid of one emotion? 300 hours, I can do it in 15 minutes. I get rid of their suicidality, their depression, whatever. I teach them a whole new way of thinking because your beliefs will shape your activity. Your beliefs will dictate what you do and how you do it. My course teaches everything insurance. You'll make money if you just go through the course and execute on it. There's literally a 24-week checklist. If you do everything on that checklist, you will make minimum $160,000. You will make. That's net. It's been proven too many times. I'm here for the one-on-one stuff. If people want to pay extra to get rid of their limiting beliefs, stuff like that, awesome. That's what drives a bigger change for me. I'm solving a bigger problem. Because if I just teach you how to sell and you go out there, if you just take the course, but you're a stingy person, you're a terrible person, and you learn everything about selling insurance and you're stingy with the $100 you have now, you'll be stingy when you make $160,000. You'll be stingy with $160 million. You didn't fix anything. What's the good if you have all of this money and you're still suicidal? When I see people selling these bullshit courses and not tackling any real problems, it's disgusting. Because here's what happened. They go through one course, they don't get what they're looking for, they come to me, and now they don't have any money because they racked up their credit card bills on Facebook ads for 70-cent leads. You know the type of clients you get from 70-cent leads?
Not good ones.
No, bad clients will bankrupt your business.
This
and
is
what I mean by that, I had 3 cases of illegal credit card fraud from people who said the product was not delivered to them. I got over 6 figures frozen for 6 months. I'm not sure how many people on here use Stripe. Both of my payment processors were shut down, frozen, 180 days apiece. All the money I'd made for the last 8-9 months is just frozen up. But also, I don't complain because I know I have the skills to always go back out there and make more. Most people, if they lost 6 figures and we're not even guaranteed to it, I'm not sure how many people are familiar with how Stripe works. They can keep that money.
Yep.
Most people would cry, go home, quit, file bankruptcy, whatever. Nope. You know what I'm going to do? Wake up, go do it again. I start over at 0 every day. People just focus on shit that doesn't matter. That's why I buzzed all my hair off the other day. I heard some dude in a barbershop, I think I counted 11 times. Hey, you missed a spot right here. Hey, can you touch this? I'm like, a haircut? Like, who the fuck cares? Like, Thanos, Star Wars, keep your nerd movies. Like, I don't want to sit around and wait for the weekend to go watch a movie. I'm trying to take over the world. I'm trying
Certainly
to
seems so.
program people. Yes. Same as your upline.
Same
It's
as
all
your
programming.
upline.
But at least I care about you. Why? Because I made sure my success was tied to my customer's success. If they're successful, that makes me successful. Your upline, your agency owner, your IMO, they're not going to come save you. They don't give a shit about you. If you died, 99% of them would not show up to your funeral. And if they're not going to be with you on the most important day of your life, the day you die, what is the point of even listening to them? What's the point of surrounding yourself with people like that? Focus on shit that matters.
I would say most of them probably wouldn't even know that you died.
No. Oh, he's not selling. He's not buying leads from the company. They're indoctrinated. The ideas are ingrained in their head. It's disgusting.
We got to wrap this up. So if there are agents out there, right, that know they feel like there's more, right? Or let me ask it this way: if there's an agent out there that, like, what is the right agent to contact you for help? For
A
example,
critical thinker, a problem solver, an emotionally intelligent person, or someone that's life is so bad that they want to get the skills. The more money you make, the more money I can make you. If you're already doing $20,000 to $30,000 a month of issued paid production, I can help you out 10 times more. Why? You're already a 7. Let me get you to a 9. I can show you how to hit a home run as long as you've already picked up the baseball bat and struck out a few times. But someone who's never even stepped on the field or stole a base, it's going to be 10 times harder for me to help you. I can help any life insurance agent that is willing to help themselves, that are willing to go the distance, that are willing to get rid of bad habits. But you hear people, well, I made a million last year. That's fucking cute. That's what you capped yourself out as? The government prints trillions. The government prints trillions. Why don't we make you 100 million? Whatever. I'm not saying I'm going to make people 100 million. I don't make earnings promises.
right?
I'm
But
saying
get rid of the
this work
limiting
that we
belief.
do.
Right.
Yes.
That's just another version of a limiting belief, is what you're pointing
I don't
out.
need a coach. I'm already doing 20,000 a month. Ha ha ha. Loser. I can help anyone who is perspicacious enough to want more.
You might have to define that word for us, though.
It's perception. It's how you view things. If you have an abundance mindset, I can help you out tremendously. But my favorite agents to help are the ones that aren't making money. This is a terrible bit. Like, don't listen to this as far as business advice. Don't go after these customers. The people who are broke, depressed, suicidal, whatever, I like fixing their problems more because I know it's going to make a bigger change. And the thing about change is you never know how far it goes. When I go to wherever the world sends me to, when I'm no longer here, I get to look down and see all the gratification. Most people just want to see it right away. They want to give someone $100, record a TikTok video of them giving someone money and saying, what are you going to spend it on? What does this do for you? No, I know that 10 years down the road of you constantly stacking up wins, you're going to help a lot more people.
Naturally. Well, man, this has been fantastic, Mason. I definitely appreciate you coming on today. Means a lot to me. And I think we've got quite a bit of engagement on this. There was definitely some people tuning in. I know they enjoyed it.
This will
Lots
piss
of
a
great
lot of
comments.
people off.
Eh.
That's good.
That's good. It's good to challenge people's thinking from time to time, especially in today's world. Man, it's time to shake people up, right? It's time to shake things up because the cycle that we're moving in is not productive for us. And you said it early. You said it very early in this call that we are live watching society crumble right before our eyes.
It's crumbling. And like, I just want to drop this. Like, society is telling men to be feminine and women to be masculine. It's disgusting. We need ego. Can't believe Mason Vanmeter just said that. People need an ego. I'm not saying you have to go shit on people, but I want people to copy my beliefs. While I'm getting into neuroscientist, I'm going to social engineer a mindset for society, especially insurance industry. There's enough bullshit as it is. But if you have the belief that you're genuinely the best at what you do, that's never going to hurt you. If you walk through life saying, because Joshua Young's built a business, I can do it. And if I do it better, I can become a better Medicare agent. Joshua Young's is a prime example of who to copy in the Medicare side of things.
True. So how do people get in touch with you, Mason?
If you want to, you can text me 270-724-3633. Just search Mason Vanmeter on any social media platform. If you send me some death threat or some shit talking, I will clown you. If you come to me talking about your problems and I see you're not in where you want to be in life, I will point it out. I'm not here to cater to people. I've already made enough money. I don't need yours. I just want to truly help people out and save this industry. I've already made the money. Now it's about something bigger.
Beautiful. Well, we're already getting requests for a second part. So we won't put it on the calendar today, but you're probably coming back, my friend.
Well, I'd love to be on.
Well, we appreciate you appreciate you coming on and having you. This has been a fantastic show. We've had a hell of a viewership the whole way. I hope you have a fantastic day. Thank you guys for tuning in. This has been an awesome episode. Continue to drop the comments on there. What would you like to see Mason come back and talk about for part 2? Because I guarantee you we're having him back.
Hypnosis.
Can't wait to have it. Maybe hypnosis, maybe habit forming. We don't know, but let us know and we'll make sure we get it out there. Thanks again for tuning in. We're here every day, 9 a.m. or every Tuesday, 9 a.m. Next week, we got Chase McAllister coming on. Big time agent out there. Looking forward to having him. Until then, we'll see you next time on Tuesday Training. Thanks again, guys.
See you, Tony.